Very good afternoon, my friends. My name is Pravesh Ved, and on behalf of CII, Amanta Center for Competitiveness, I welcome all of you to this session, a webinar session today on what we call as succession planning, a subject which has lately achieved great importance and certainly become at the forefront because what is on the top of the mind of every CEO today is talent management, be it acquisition, be it retention, be it performance, and be it being available in the continuity for the organization. This will be a 2-hour session starting now, and I'll share my thoughts with you for about an hour's time, and thereafter we'll follow it up with some question answer session. Of course, to make it more pointed and focused, I have a small presentation which will run concurrently as I speak. Since it's a one-way communication means, I would not be knowing exactly whether you are receiving it well or not, but I would request, as and when it happens, you may probably, as you have to punch in your questions, you may probably just, you can punch in just an acknowledgement, yes, it is audible, and the presentation is visible to you. I'll be able to see it, and in case there is any rectification required to be done from our end, I'll try and get it done. Right. So, my friends, the subject, as you got it, was effective succession planning and a tool for talent optimization. When you speak of the word succession, the first thing that comes to my mind is a successor. And when you speak about a successor, comes to my mind a crown prince in line to the throne after the king's retirement or demise or in whatever way. Also a vision, a successor is a person who suddenly pops up whose name comes up as a result of a will which is opened up suddenly after some elder soul's departure, and from that a magical will document, you find that so and so well now is going to be inheriting the fortune, and he will be the successor to the whole thing. Maybe, yes, this may be true as it is. But looking at a larger picture, but these are all mysterious figures, so there's a mystery around it. There's some kind of a mysticism around a word when you say a successor, or a throne, or a kingdom, or a fiefdom, or an inheritance. In our corporate world, in our corporate situation, we are talking of a different succession planning. Organization is here for a continuing basis. Organizations are going to be run on a continuous basis, irrespective of the people who come and people who may go. It has to continue on its own journey. And anything which comes out or which is hidden in a mystery, or comes as a surprise, cannot have that kind of an effect. It cannot really be facilitating or be conducive to a successful organization running. So here we talk about an effective plan to identify, an effective plan to nurture, prepare, and make him have test waters right now as the situations are still continuing to take over and to carry on the organization in a continuous fashion, in a continuous momentum, so that there's never a jolt, there's never a shocker coming in. Well, for some time there, what happened? And you see suddenly that the organizations take time to recover from those things. So with this theme and with this emphasis, I would like to now carry it forward and share with me my thoughts. My friends, it's a very short period of an hour's time, and what I'm going to talk about is about a phenomena which is going to take over and run the whole organizations. It's a process which may take months and years of preparations. So within this 1 hour, perhaps I'll only be able to scratch on the surface, just a tip of the entire phenomena I'll be able to share with you. My sincere effort would be to bring it to focus. The succession plan is a necessity, and succession plan is something which needs urgency. We go ahead further, and we have it here. My friends, we are going through different times. If you see the happenings which have happened in the country India, our India, in the last 7 to 8 to 10 years, we found a new recognition in the entire world. Virtually, from being one of those developing, have-not, second world status, thanks to our IT's contribution, we suddenly came up to the radar of the global business world. People took note of the highly skilled sets which are available within this country. And when they just looked inside, they found it was not that it has come on the glip as on a radar, but Indians had been present through years within their own countries, occupying positions of scientists, doctors, engineers, and even educationists, and in some cases, even in their own political systems. But it was a notice taken off for the country called India. We really saw, in fact, we went through a phase. It was like a new dawn coming here. After years of a protectionist kind of a scenario in which competition, quality, price were hardly subjects which we were really on top of our agenda. And suddenly we found that yes, we have been pushed into a total ocean of competition, innovations, new frontiers and global hypermarkets, waiting and watching and wanting to connect with us and take advantage of the strengths that this country, India, beholds and promises. Surely, when we looked at the global levels of operations, we went through certain times. The whole world went through a certain times. In the last 4 or 5 years, it saw a period of recession or a downturn or a lowdown or a slowdown. And in all these situations, when the whole world was really grappling with handling a situation, what you call as a recession or an economic low, they found that here is a country called India, and where the recession or the slowdown had just bypassed us. We had a very resilient internal market forces. We had a very resilient internal strengths, which allowed us to carry on with the same pace and the same growth path. It brought us into even sharper focus on the world's vision. And the India success story is something which the world is having to believe. But given an option, perhaps it's very difficult for them to accept this land of snake charmers and flying magic carpets, to be standing shoulder to shoulder, to be standing in front of them and ready to be the power of tomorrow. With this, there's a great word of caution which we have to be aware of. We need to remain extraordinarily cautious, because this sudden explosion of industrial and business activity is going to give rise to a great demand of manpower and skilled manpower to handle those situations. And we foresee an acute shortage of skilled manpower in coming times. More so, as you will see, recently what has happened? This was a country where it used to be just some manufacturing and some little bit of what you call as a handicraft or some kind of an activity which is happening. And today, you name the sector and it is a sunrise sector in this. Be it banking, energy, oil and gas, health and wellness, hospitality, manufacturing it has all been, but the education, infrastructure, real estate, the ITES, we are the workhorse. We are the workhorse for all the major IT companies. Retail, and the retail is a buzzword today. Everyone is talking about retail. The explosive growth which is going to come. And telecommunication. In fact, as we see, it's only a matter of few months around the corner, and perhaps we are ready for another next level of revolution in telecommunication happening, where the mobile commerce and your mobile wallet and all the transaction happening through our mobiles is going to become as prevalent and widespread as a simple mobile phone today is. Every corner, every market, every putty today, which you see at every level of in the pyramid, you find mobiles everywhere. My friend, all these sectors are sunrise. All of them are going to be needing skilled and trained people to run them. Yes, if we have to grow, these sectors have to grow. When they make a growth, the country will also go ahead. But we know what is to be done. We know the sectors in which we have to put in. But we need people. Unless you have people to man them, to operate them, to make them happen, our success story, that bright spark that we see in our youngsters looking at a great country in the future is something we have to be really cautious about. It is talent, and it is just the talent that is at the moment and the skilled people which is at the top of agenda of every person who's at the policy making front. The challenge, the uppermost challenge we have today is, for any organization, a challenge is talent. Before even acquisition, the organization has to be fair enough, has to be attractive enough so that the right person is even at least willing to consider to come to my company. And thereafter, actually come and join my company, stay with me, perform, and as he's performing, I have such robust and efficient systems of assessment and rewards that he likes to continue to remain with me. With this, globally also, out of a survey carried out by a consultancy group, if you see the uppermost as far as people management is in the subject of human resource management, if you see that is the area, leaving aside all other various activities, it is a talent management which is at the top. And talent management which is of a proactive and a predictive nature, which can anticipate the needs, which can develop company-wide strategies and policies so as to support that kind of a need. And it tailors a very robust internal developmental plan and systems. And taking all these things together, we make a useful and talent which is available to us, which works for us, and which stays with us for our tomorrow also. And this is the matrix in which today not just the HR, but in fact, all the functional heads, and especially the CEO, are grappling with getting people, getting them integrated, making them perform, and out of the performance, giving them suitable and sufficient and innovative rewards so that they stay on with us and continue to work with us and continue to contribute in the organization's development. My friends, this 20-year-old, almost 20-year-old famous book, The War for Talent, has suddenly become so relevant today. It's virtually a war of talent all over the world today. There's a great skill, which is shortages and skill challenges, which are the industry is facing. As we're getting global, as we're becoming smarter, the business complexities are increasing. And as they increase and as the competitiveness grows further, we are seeing a great employee churn because of the options available and also because of the inability of the organizations to absorb the energies which are unleashed by the new talent. We find there's an acute need of retention, and which is so necessary for an organization from its continuity system. This brings us, and all these factors bring us to a focus, an activity which we call as succession planning. Okay? This was my small little effort to bring into focus and to give a weight, to bring it from one of the so many activities in the HR function of an organization is involved in, which is still a back-end activity. I wanted to bring it to the forefront. Having done that, let's go a little ahead and find out what is succession planning. What do we mean when we say succession plan? Yes, when you say succession planning, it's a very definite kind of an activity. It's a very definite, precise activity, very proactively done, very systematically done, very deliberately done in an organization, so as to prepare to identify potential existing within our organization, to identify the missing skill that an organization is running with, to find strategies, to develop strategies, to bring in that talent, to identify that talent, make systems and procedures to develop that talent, and put it into the baby steps of development and taking on those activities which put them onto a different roadmap of development and prepares them for the impending tomorrow. So succession planning, defined here, well, there are three definitions. Well, it's a strategic, systematic, deliberate effort to find competencies required in potential leaders, and through various systems like targeted rotations and educational initiatives, prepare them to fill high-level positions. It's a deliberate system again, which is put in by an organization to ensure leadership continuity in key positions. And it's a structured process which identifies and prepares potential successors to assume leadership roles, to assume responsibilities to carry the organization further. Simple. What is? When you say succession planning, well, it's in fact a constant change planning. It's a journey. It is not just a small one-time project that we do and be done with. It's a journey. Succession planning is an organizational journey to ensure continuity of leadership in times to come, to take on the reins, whenever required. It is also a very powerful tool of identifying gaps in existing talent pool and also identifying and nurturing future leaders. Well, why do we need succession planning? It's there. Companies are running. They have been running. They'll continue. Why put so much of stress? Why put so much of an emphasis on the process of succession planning, effective succession planning? Because organizations supersede individuals. People may come and go, but the organization stays, and that has to carry on. And we have to groom the younger ones to take lead positions and to take the cause of organization forward. Ask the 5W1H and we will know the why, what, when, where, who and how, and we'll know what is the method of succession planning. Can I have the whole thing opening up? I'm not able to see the entire. No, it has to go to the right. Or you may close this window for the time being. No, it'll open. Excuse me, there's a little glitch. Let go. Fine. Right. There are benefits. There are immense benefits of an exercise, of a scientifically analyzed, deliberated, prepared, implemented, checked, and finalized of an activity of succession planning. And you have immense benefits. You always have a ready bench strength available for any kind of a position that we have, that we may require. It also helps in early identification of potential leaders whenever there's a requirement and for the future requirements. And as we identify such leaders and we invest in them, we develop them, they see the organization taking interest, they see organization putting faith in them. It leads to the typical human syndrome. It leads to employee satisfaction, and an employee satisfaction leads to employee retention. Because through this, they see their own future. They're able to connect with the coming times. They're able to prepare themselves. They are able to see, yes, they have a potential place in coming times. This sounds very good and sounds very simple, but it has also got a lot of inherent challenges. It needs the first and foremost, the top management commitment. Yes, it needs great amount of commitment from the top. Yes, that we would like to have a succession plan. It is thought, well, the company is there, people are there. When the need will come, we'll just pick up somebody and put him prepare him for a while. They'll be able to carry on. We have got seniors with us. We got a second line. We got a third line. Fine. But those are there. Are they ready to take on strategic positions? Or are they simply the second line or the next line is doing simply micromanagement activities which at a higher level people were doing and now simply it has been given down? Or they are also along with that being developed to take those bigger decisions? Or are those people also being developed to see the bigger picture and be ready for it when the time comes? For doing these developmental activities, for giving them necessary training, you need funds. So along with the top management commitment, you also need commitment for funds to initiate, to organize, and to sponsor people for such developmental programs. My friend, it's equally important to have knowledge of what are those assessment and developmental tools through which we can do succession planning. And so also, unless we have done a very, very proper manpower plan, which created a very effective visual organization structure with clear relationships, we have a very, very clear profiling, competencies, identifications of the people who are holding the positions. And we also have the competency requirements of the positions which they are holding. And then we have the data of what is missing in my company. That will be the first building block for succession planning. So inability to identify future talent needs of an organization is a subject in itself. And if you're able to do that, still, if you're not able to track the current people with us, and if you're not viewed them, we view people mostly from performance, which is related to the past. There's very little attention paid to the potential of the people. What exactly are they good at? What is a hidden talent inside? What are those energies inside in a human being, which we are probably not encashing? We brought him when we recruited because he was holding some knowledge in certain companies. Where we brought him here, we are not able to utilize those knowledge or his skills, and they're just lying idle with us. And today, as over a period of time, they get set into a background, and what he's performing today is what it remains. What are his areas in which he's really keen to work in? So these are, unless we have that kind of a data, unless we are able to see through those kind of details, identifying potential candidates is again a challenge that we must meet. Well, succession planning. This is a standard succession planning wheel. Starts with assessment of key positions in an organization. Those are those key positions which can slow down, which can deviate an organization from its path of success and growth, and identifying key talent which can occupy those key positions if the times come. And having identified that key talent required for those key positions, finding out and giving those kind of new skill sets, new knowledge, new capabilities to such identified potential leaders or potentials and making them fit for that. Then, having done that, you generate development plans for them, implement those plans, and then you have a very, very robust monitoring and review systems as to are we able to, or how far we are able to achieve the results. And within this wheel of planning, we move. It's a need, it's a necessity. Necessity is the mother of all inventions. Fine, but having done that once, we need it to be continuous. And the companies need continuous excellence. I exhort my friends to read what is further. Let's see this process in a little more detail. When you say finding critical positions, we have to see the organization work. We have to find out what are the succession planning efforts. And identifying those key positions, the key areas which require a seamless availability of talent through various methods like risk assessment may be conducted. Find out through that. Let us withdraw from those positions and see, does the organization fumble? And how much effort it takes and what it takes to come up to that level. And that wobble will give us an indication. These are the areas which require efforts for continuity. Then, having identified, then a clear understanding of the capabilities needed to be successful in that particular position. and the process of competency and position profiling to be done for such identified key positions. We have to have very robust HR strategies which recruit the right people, which integrate those people within the organization, into the culture of the organization, and develop them to take on for the future and prepare them for the future plans. Developing internal talent pools is the most important. There is a thumb rule, as we share with most. Let's resolve to do the recruitment at the bottom. At the lowest levels, we must recruit and develop the potential talent out of that recruitment and develop them to take on higher positions. It should be a minimum requirement of getting a lateral induction at senior levels. They are not only very costly, they take time to fit into our culture. And then also, for the existing lot, it sometimes leaks. It appears like, para-dropping of a commando, which is concomitant, then it results in the usual dissent, dissatisfaction, frustrations in the existing lot. Recruit at the bottom, have a robust development and training plans, identify key people and bring them up through very proactive training activities, involving them into various projects, cross-functional activities, wherein their outputs, their new developments are registered, recorded, and visibly celebrated, so that gradually it is understood, seen, and accepted as a forthcoming natural evolution of tomorrow's leaders. My friends, one of the major things which we normally bypass or miss out is we develop excellent systems. We may develop excellent plans, implement them, create success stories, and then we move on. We have to leave things for posterity, legacy, and that is documentation. That is creating a complete repository of knowledge which is available not only for us to review our past, to improve our past, but also for the coming times, for the coming situations where people can just refer to it and move on, and not that they have to also reinvent a wheel in times to come. A very proactive documentation, recording strategy to be kept in place. So when we do a documentation, automatically it makes us binding also, wherein timelines, where clarity of roles and responsibilities, where review mechanisms automatically fall into a place with built-in reminders, with built-in corrective measures. And so what we call in our TQM as a PDCA cycle carries on, and it moves on a continuing basis. Because having developed any system in an organization which is successful today is only for today. And we have to be ready, we have to be prepared that tomorrow it will need another further tinkering and development. An organization can never be static. Business is never static. Our management also, it cannot be static. None of the policies, none of the procedures, none of the systems that we create can be static forever. They have to be dynamic. We have to build in, we have to provide such mechanisms that they are automatically monitored, analyzed, critically assessed, corrective actions highlighted and put in place, and improvements brought forward. Our mechanism, our monitoring and review has to be in fact ahead of any of the systems fallen in place. Moment a system is refined and put in place, and now it is for the organization to take it on, that's exactly the day on which, as a strategically, we should prepare for the next steps. We should be ready for the next initiative required. And these are the critical procedures or methods or steps, whatever you may call it, in developing an effective and successful succession plan. When you do that, people who are getting identified, people who are being put through a system of developmental activities, which is besides the normal activities they are engaged to perform. They all read through it. They all see this. That organization is also concerned. Organization is also viewing my being here, my performance, and based on my performance and output has put some trust and faith in me. Therefore, it is investing in me, preparing me for some future, which is obviously a growth oriented, in which I'll be putting in more, in which my value would be going higher, and I'll be at a higher platform, at a higher level to contribute to the organization. Why does a person change? Why would I like to leave an organization which is assuring me, which is showing me a future for me, where I fit in, for which I am being prepared, which is going to give me, which is going to satisfy me? Chances are that not only I will stay here, but also I'll work, I'll perform, and I would like to give back. I'd like to repay to the organization the faith, the trust which has been reposed in me. This is human nature. And we must encash that element of that goodness of a human being. This is what an underlying motive, underlying outcome of a succession plan, besides our selfish motive of ensuring continuity of an organization. How to do it? What are the various methods? Succession plan over a period of time, silently but quietly but very efficiently, has been developing its own roadmap. It has been developing its own methodologies, and on a very scientific manner, it has got tools that, once implemented, used, they help us in achieving an effective and successful succession plan. Let's have a look at this toolbox. This is just an illustrative. You already must be having many of these existing in your company. It's only illustrative. I have just tried to give you a little snapshot. Yes, there are so many others which we can use. Or maybe some of these ones we can also probably pick up and implement. On the job we have enrichment, special projects, committee assignments, task force participation, lead person responsibilities, presentations, proposals, installing new systems, leading a new system, temporary job assignments, and even full job changes. While learning from others, assign a mentor, teaming with an expert, a 360-degree feedback mechanism, and focused interviews of the people, of persons, so that we know how much he has picked up, we know how much he has been able to imbibe, we also know, what further gaps are required to be filled up. And of course, Externally, we have got seminars and conferences. There's the continuing education, online, outside, short-term educations. E-learning platforms are now really filling up the cyberspace and the virtual space for learning, where really, instead of having to go over and do it there, well, right here, right in my room, as you are at the moment, going through this little experience of sharing and listening to some concepts and cross trainings. Maybe what I'm doing today, maybe what I'm being prepared for, maybe whatever my expertise is in a particular line. That may be as my professionally my expertise. I also have passion. And there are activities available in the organization which suits, which probably is congruent with my passion. Well, if somebody can identify, or maybe I as an employee myself, through a communication system available in my company, can amplify, yes, I would like to do this. Can I be prepared? And we give an opportunity. We allow him to learn a little and come and show. And if it really works, well, migrate. So many things, so many tools are available, so many systems and methods are available by which we can plan our succession plan. My friends, when you talk about succession plan, this is not probably the key activity or the business activity for which the enterprise is set up. Maybe it's a manufacturing setup, or it's a service setup, or it's into some infrastructure, or it is into some kind of energy. Whatever the sector and whatever the business activity it may have been set up for. Succession plan is an important component, but not the key, not the main, and not the core, which is business related. We need a catalyst within an organization which can put the wheels of planning for succession into motion, which can channelize and which can collaborate with various verticals, which can be an interface between the top management's vision and their future outlooks to the operatives on the ground, which can have that third eye to identify, and also the armory available within the organization and available to the organization to develop that identified potential. That, my friends, is what we call as a human resource department or the human resource managers. And besides our transactional activities of HR that we do on a day-to-day basis, and majority of my friends in HR, in fact, we are micromanaging the HR. Probably talent is the biggest challenge. So recruitment takes up the largest chunk of an HR functionary in a company. Fine. So much so, the recruitment has now become one of the key result areas of an HR functionary. So much so, it has also been now converted into measurable outputs. Number of days, the period within which a position gets filled up. And the HR functionary is very happy, very efficiently showing in the how this period is being brought down, reduced, and I'm able to provide with the replacement in the times to come. Fine, my friends, this is an activity, and this is probably the activity today, which is important. But why do I have to do this activity? This is one question which only an HR man can ask his own self. I may be very good in recruitment. I may be very good in all this. I have an excellent system by which, I get people immediately moment I am required. But also, nobody's asking, but it's only the HR man who has to ask himself, why I'm doing it. The policies, the rules and regulations which a company has laid down, is the HR functionary who is ensuring that these are being implemented. They are being adhered to. People are following because those were developed, those were designed for the good of the company, for the best of the organization, for the continuity and for the proper utilization of the people strength. And over a period of time, what do we become? So what is my chance besides being just a monitor? I don't create dollar values, but how as an HR functionary, I create a true value for an organization. This is one of the most important questions, my friends, I would like to share here. I'd like to emphasize here, and I'd like to really drive home today that for an effective succession plan to get developed and implemented, an HR functionary has to change himself into a transformational leader in an organization. We are the agents. We are the catalysts. We are the people who will bring change in an organization. Organization will change. The people need to be changed. In a continuously evolving business scenario all over the world, in a most dynamic, most fluid, most uncertain times, a company cannot remain static. An organization cannot remain and follow a one particular method of doing things. It has to continuously reinvent itself. And all this has to happen through people in the organization. The machines and the plant and machinery are inane. They are installed. They'll operate. You press the button, they'll operate. But how much, what, when, where, for whom is a thing which the people who are running those machines are going to decide. So that vision, that ability to foresee, that ability to bring about change so that the company is fit and fine and ready for tomorrow can only happen when the people in my organization change and are ready for the change even before the need arises. So the main role of the HRD is to create conditions for empowering people in organization so that they also rise from their day-to-day activities. They also start looking at their own selves. What am I doing? Why I am doing it? And what else can I do to make it happen in a better way? That is what the HR role is. That is what our requirement from HR is. That we make people aware of themselves. And we make people aware of the hidden talent and hidden potential within all these high performers. And simultaneously make available all tools, make available all such avenues so that they can come up. And this empowering role requires constant examination of factors which are motivating and facilitating effectiveness of managerial talent. My friends, this also brings to focus that there is a need for continuous examination of structures, systems, styles, skills, technology, attitudes, personalities. what not, which are existing in my company, which were created one point of time. There was a need at that time. Are they still relevant? Or perhaps they have outlived their utility? Spend some time. You have to look through them. Who will see that? It is the HR, which as a holder, as a custodian of the human wealth, can initiate, can influence, can help people to see themselves and find their strengths and encash those strengths. And if anything of my company, which is policies, procedures, technology, attitude at the top, certain personalities who can hinder my work, HR should come. HR should come and be proactively available so that those are taken care of. As HR, we are not the breadwinners. We are not the breadwinners, but we are the homemakers that make the next generation what they will be and what they should be. It's a clarion call for the HR functionaries within this vast audience, this august audience of my friends who are listening to me, who have been with me through this presentation. We are the change. We are the leaders. We are the agents of that change. And that has to be kept in view. And this is the most important role for all of us, because when you say HR functionary or the HR head, it is not just that designated HR manager or executive of your organization, my friends. All of you who are not running the machine, but who are managing the people who are running the machines, are all of you are HR functionaries. And you have to keep in mind, and all of us have to keep this in mind, that here we have perfected a system, we have brought it to a level, the company is at excellent today, and that is when I must detach from my present, from my existing today, right now, and move ahead and plan for my tomorrow. And that is succession planning. When you have that succession plan, which is well laid out, which is well defined, transparent, and well communicated to everyone, people will believe in you. People will have faith in the policies of the company. I hope you agree with me. I wish I could see you. I wish I could see you. I would love to convince you. This is I'm saying it through my conviction. My friends, make a beginning. And if there was one sentence that could be taken away from here, don't pass time here in the background of finance, operations, and sales. Have the guts to define future and be adored for that. Beginning will be tough, but it was never easy. It was never easy. And the power is yours only if you believed it. Have belief in yourself that you can change, that you can work, that you can sustain, and you can develop. Make a beginning. And of course, as the famous quote from Winston Churchill said, this is not the end. It's not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning. Effective succession planning, tool for talent optimization. This was a catch phrase which I used, my friends, not only to attract you to this session today, but bring to focus the need for an ongoing and effective succession plan, transparent plan, a well laid out plan, a well communicated succession plan in an organization, which is not for the throne, which is not for the top positions only. This is for all the positions. Wherever you have a hierarchy, wherever we have positions of responsibility, we have to prepare a second line, an effective second line. And this has to be a continuous process of upgradation. And once this, in which all the potential talents will be involved, they will see meaning, they will see value, they will see their true contribution in the organization and work for it, perform for it, and give their best for it. And which you take it from the word optimization. This is the only way. This is the only way. Each activity of function as people management or people resource management function, every activity is a continuum of the previous to the next. And it is a succession plan which in fact defines that continuity for the plan to come up. My dear friends, this is a little bit, I would have gone on. My idea was to highlight, my idea was to passionately appeal to you to please take this succession planning activity in any organization where you are, big or small, in whatever sector you are. The companies will remain, the business will remain. The companies have to go on. We may not be there. But let us create those legacies. Let us create those processes which are robust enough that can take us ahead on our journey for our coming times. My friends, I would request if any one of you has some views on this subject, you have an option of typing it out. I would share those with the rest of the audience so that this experience is enriched a little. It's enriched a little. Now I leave it open to all of you, whoever here within this. Question. I do hope you were able to hear, or there was a clarity as far as the audio was concerned. I may also share with you Avanta Centers for Competitiveness is a center of excellence of CII, wherein we, through various verticals of manufacturing excellence, energy saving, human resource management, we are able to provide inputs through our counselors who are all industry experienced to provide alternatives to various companies which need that. We work through various process of conducting training programs. We also visit the companies to carry out an assessment and also suggest alternatives, solutions. Through a bank, through a great large data bank of practices that we have been able to collect for people to come. Are we able to see the questions? We do carry out a full spectrum of the HR function are covered. We have been doing webinars on various other subjects, including HR for organizations, especially the SME organizations. They have had what you call as transactional part of the HR, which is basically a leave and attendance and payroll. But now they are also feeling the need, because as the larger companies are expanding and growing, they can operate only if they are backed up with a robust SME ecosystem. And the SMEs also have to get aligned with the needs and with the requirements of their customers, which are larger organizations, which in turn are supplying to global companies and in the working for the global markets. So it is that alignment of best practices prevalent all over the world that we are propounding, that we propagate through this particular center of excellence called CII Avantha Center. Well, I have now a few sets of questions which let me take up. Yes. First is the demand in the industry is dynamic. How do we fit a resource into this skill matrix? This is from Johnson. Johnson, yes, you're right. Demand in the industry is dynamic. In fact, the industry itself is now dynamic. I have been stressing no static solutions. We can't have a cut and dry solution for anything. We have to keep on reinventing our requirements. Demand in the industry is dynamic. Well, everything is linked with business. So what is your business plan for the coming 3 years, 2 years, 1 year? And to address that business plan, what activities your organization is going to take? And to undertake those activities, what would be our requirements? So this is a projection, it's a plan, it's a visualization, which has to be done. And it has to be done very dispassionately by all the stakeholders together, and then develop and identify what are the, I would say, don't spend more time in what is required to be done. Find out what is missing in the organization. And if you are able to identify a missing link, that gives me an immediate focused activity to do, which I can immediately fit as a resource required into my skill matrix. It's a very dynamic, and that is why we propound and we appeal to all the HR functionaries, please, all your policies, all our methodologies, they were good till some time back. But we have to come out, we have to get out, we have to be proactive. And that is why an HR has to be we use a term called Gemba. My TQ friends will tell, Gemba is the place where the actual value gets added. An HR person has to be a Gemba man. He should be in the organization. He should be in the business activity where actual activities are happening, where actual value is getting added. He must have a first-hand information of what is happening, what are the ethos, what is the current, what are the undercurrents in my organization. Not that when he's told that he acts, he should be able to predict and then take proactive action. That is what is there. It's required. Deepak Patikali, you can get this presentation by mail. We have your address. In case you are a member of CII, then you also go to the portal, what we call as mycii.in. Under the knowledge management head, this presentation would be available. In fact, this entire webinar would be available. Anirudh, family-owned companies, succession planning is more complicated, as there is tendency to mix ownership and management, which is day-to-day running. Anirudh, you have touched a very raw nerve of every SME, which is on the threshold of a growth, and explosive growth today. Yes, they're all family controlled. Yes, there was a need. It had to be a family control, an SME, especially because he took entire risk when he put his idea into action. He set up something. He brought in people. He trusted them to set up and run an organization. And of course, since it was his money, and his own effort, and his own risk, he got into even the micromanagement and getting it to at the bottommost level to ensure that his business is up and running. As they have expanded, as they have grown, and as the requirements is becoming global, even SMEs. And one thing which the family-owned companies and their owners are indulging in now is extensive global forays, attending these seminars, attending the fairs, the product-specific fairs which are happening all over, and interacting with the international customers and international collaborations. They need time to get away, and that's where the need, especially the need in the SMEs, it's in fact they are really feeling the heat of not being able to get away from the day-to-day running, and they want to develop this succession plan. We have worked with lots of such companies, which are family-owned companies, which are into micromanagement, but they want to be available to the world and leave this. So there we have identified the second line, spent resources on them to develop them to be prepared to take on activities which are more in line, which are on a day-to-day basis. Technology is available to today that you can really be watching and observing from anywhere nowadays. We tell them, we really appeal, we really request those ownership levels. Okay, you can't just leave the place, but at least you go ahead. Use technology. You can still see there